The next papal conclave is shaping up to be one of the most fascinating in modern history, not only because of the political and spiritual weight it carries, but also because of the unique group of cardinal electors who will be choosing the next pope. With 138 electors under the age of 80 and 22 considered papabili, those seen as likely candidates to become pope, this upcoming conclave stands apart from many that came before it. The diversity in background, theological orientation, and pastoral experience among these cardinals is striking. But to fully understand the significance of what's coming, it's important to first understand how the papal election process works and what role the College of Cardinals plays. The College of Cardinals is one of the most ancient institutions in the Catholic Church. Its origins trace back to the early Christian communities, where the Bishop of Rome required assistance in managing the growing Christian flock. Over centuries, this group evolved from local Roman clergy to a global advisory body. Today, the College is made up of cardinal bishops, cardinal priests, and cardinal deacons. These ranks are largely honorary now, but they reflect centuries of tradition. Cardinals are chosen by the Pope and typically serve as senior church officials, leading major dioceses or heading departments in the Roman Curia. Their primary task, though, is electing the next pope when the papacy becomes vacant. Only cardinals under the age of 80 are allowed to vote in a conclave, ensuring that those participating are still active in church life and leadership. The red they wear symbolizes their willingness to defend the faith, even to the point of shedding blood. The word conclave comes from the Latin phrase cum clave, meaning with a key. This reflects the strict secrecy and seclusion under which papal elections are held. The cardinals gather in the Sistine Chapel, cut off from the outside world, and remain there until a new pope is chosen. This process was formalized over many centuries, especially after periods of turmoil when papal elections were influenced by politics, mob rule, or external powers. The conclave rules were designed to protect the integrity of the decision and to ensure that the Holy Spirit, not earthly influence, guides the election. Voting is done on paper ballots, and a two-thirds majority is required to elect a pope. If no candidate reaches this threshold, the voting continues, usually 4 times a day, until one man gains the necessary support. After each round, the ballots are burned. Black smoke means no pope has been chosen. White smoke signals that a pope has been elected. In recent decades, popes have used their power to name cardinals who reflect their own vision of the Church. Pope Francis, for example, appointed cardinals from less traditional regions, places like Mongolia, East Timor, and Myanmar. His appointments focused more on pastoral sensibilities and humility than on traditional academic or curial backgrounds. That means many of the electors in this conclave may not know each other very well. This unfamiliarity could lead to surprising results, maybe even the election of someone who wasn't widely considered a frontrunner. As for the papabili, the list of serious contenders includes men from every continent. Some are traditional and doctrinally conservative, others are more progressive, especially in terms of pastoral outreach and social justice. Some are known for their theological scholarship, while others have deep administrative experience. 1. Of the names drawing attention is Cardinal Pierbattista Pizzaballa, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem. Known for his liturgical conservatism and interreligious work, he is a traditionalist in terms of doctrine, but has pastoral sensitivity, especially in times of conflict. Another contender is Cardinal Jean-Claude Hollerich of Luxembourg, seen by many as a progressive voice. Yet despite his influence in Vatican synods, his chances may be affected by the overall conservative leaning of many electors. There's also Cardinal Peter Erdo from Hungary, who combines strong theological education with extensive administrative experience. He's respected for his orthodoxy and has led the Hungarian Church for over 2 decades. Cardinal Robert Sarah, a retired prefect of the Congregation for Divine Worship, is beloved by traditional Catholics for his focus on reverent liturgy and spiritual depth, though his age may be a disadvantage. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle of the Philippines was once considered a strong frontrunner, representing the global South and echoing many of Pope Francis's priorities. But recent setbacks in Rome may have weakened his standing. Cardinal Raymond Burke remains an icon for conservative Catholics, especially in the United States, but his sharp criticisms of Pope Francis and his public persona make his candidacy less likely in such a politically sensitive environment. Interestingly, several cardinals have expressed little interest in becoming pope. Some have even joked about running the other way if elected. But as history has shown, popes are often chosen not because they seek the position, but because the electors believe they are needed. In this particular conclave, ideological camps are more defined than they were in the past. There are progressives who support decentralization, more inclusive language, and adaptation to modern culture. On the other side are traditionalists, who seek a return to reverence in liturgy, clarity in doctrine, and boldness in evangelization. Yet the majority of cardinals don't fit neatly into either camp. Many are doctrinally conservative, but pastorally gentle, committed to traditional teaching but open to more personal engagement with the faithful. This middle group may hold the balance of power. The unique aspect of this conclave is the range of ages, regions, and experiences of the electors. Pope Francis's global approach means that the cardinals voting this time include a significant number from Africa, Asia, and Latin America. This could be the most international conclave in history, not just in terms of geography, but also in terms of worldview. For many voters, the issues of secularism, religious persecution, poverty, and migration are not abstract debates, but daily realities. Cardinals like Fridolin Ambongo from the Congo, Malcolm Ranjith from Sri Lanka, and Bo from Myanmar carry with them experiences of conflict, dictatorship, and interreligious tension. Their perspective could shape the conclave in ways that go beyond theology and doctrine. The question won't just be who understands Rome, but who understands the world. And yet, despite the diversity, there's a general sense that this conclave won't produce a radically progressive pope. The number of truly heterodox cardinals among the electors is very small. Many of Pope Francis's most progressive appointees are over 80 and therefore ineligible to vote. That means the election is more likely to result in a moderate or traditionally inclined candidate than a doctrinal revolutionary. Moreover, many of the cardinals share concerns about maintaining unity in a deeply divided church. The next pope will need to heal wounds left by decades of tension over liturgy, sexuality, and governance. He will need to manage a curia in need of reform, maintain relations with Eastern churches, and navigate increasingly strained diplomatic relationships with countries like China and Germany. That's why experience matters. Someone with administrative skill, theological clarity, and diplomatic tact will be better positioned to guide the Church through these turbulent times. Cardinals like Erdo, Müller, and even Parolin offer this mix, each in his own way. Erdo is methodical and canonically sharp. Müller is a theologian with courage and a strong global presence. Parolin, the Vatican's Secretary of State, is a diplomatic heavyweight, though some are cautious about his curial ties and the Vatican-China agreement he helped negotiate. Another important consideration will be liturgical clarity. The recent controversies over traditional Latin Mass restrictions have caused deep rifts. Candidates like Cardinal Sarah or even Archbishop Pizzaballa, who both support reverence and unity, could offer a way forward, not necessarily by reversing reforms, but by creating space for diverse expressions of Catholic worship within a united framework. Still, what many cardinals are likely looking for is balance. Someone who respects the legacy of Pope Francis, especially his emphasis on mercy, outreach, and the poor, but also someone who can restore a sense of order, reverence, and doctrinal clarity. The next pope doesn't need to be an imitator of John Paul II or Benedict XVI or Francis. He needs to be himself, but with the strength to carry the weight of Peter's office in a fractured world. And let's not forget the Holy Spirit. For all the strategies, preferences, and predictions, the conclave remains a spiritual process. The cardinals go in with their minds prepared, but ideally, their hearts open to God's will. The history of conclaves is filled with unexpected outcomes. Sometimes the front-runner wins, sometimes a compromise candidate emerges, and sometimes a relatively unknown cardinal becomes pope, and leaves a mark that lasts for centuries. This conclave may surprise us, but it's clear from the profiles of many papabili that there are strong, faithful, and capable leaders in the College of Cardinals. The Church is not without good options, and for those concerned about the future of Catholicism, there's genuine reason for hope. Whether the next pope comes from Africa, Europe, Asia, or Latin America, what matters most is his fidelity to Christ, his love for the Church, and his courage to speak the truth in love. The red hat is not a badge of power, it is a symbol of sacrifice. And whoever wears the white one next will need